What's up, RotoGrinders? Welcome to NBA Crunch Time. I'm your host, TJ Zwarich. We have a fun NBA slate ahead of us. NFL slate is in the midst of going on with a pretty fun game between Buffalo and Denver. If you had your Will Jordan Humphrey, Nicole Hardman, and F. Crumb tickets, cash them because you hit big in the first half. Joining me today, we got a TWT weekend. First up, the Chief, Will Priester. How you doing, Will?
I'm good, man. So interesting that first half. Offensive lineman scoring touchdowns. Boy, you gotta love it. Welcome to DFS, where those points don't count for anybody but the quarterback. Good job, Denver. Good job.
Keon Coleman scoring a touchdown right as we are starting the show. Will, that was our guy 1 week in Showdown earlier in the year. I'm pretty sure we told people to take him as a cheap captain, and he had his best game of the season. And so here he is coming through for people again in the playoffs.
He also dropped a touchdown today, even though it would not have counted anyway. Back in the end zone, too, wide open. Just straight up drop.
Keon and Will Jordan dropped one in the end zone and then came back, scored a touchdown right after. Breaking down today's NBA slate with us, and we need the help. We need the three-man booth because this is a doozy of a slate. Taylor Smith, how you doing, Taylor?
Yeah, doing pretty well. It is a doozy. Just an endless stream of injury news coming in today.
Barrage, if you will.
Barrage, deluge.
Oh, gosh.
And more to come, probably. We have Gobert. We have Ayton on the FanDuel slate, which is pretty meaningful. And, yeah, a lot going on. But we're going to guide you through it.
We got no time. Oh, we'll probably have some time to waste. We got a full hour, but we might as well dive right in because, like you guys said, there is a lot of injury news. So we might as well just start going right into position by position. We'll start on DraftKings. Then we will go to FanDuel, starting with the point guard position. Of course, if you got questions, get them into the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat. I'll be looking there first. I'll look at YouTube second. It can even be about football if you want. Just get your questions in. All we ask that if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like button. Help us battle that YouTube algorithm. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our shows. We will have a football pre-lock show for the Sunday slate tomorrow. Myself and Tim will be breaking that one down. Taylor, I will start with you. DraftKings point guard. Who are you going with? We got Quentin Jackson projecting with a 68% optimal rate right now.
Yeah, that's the kind of slate it is. Andrew Nembhard, Pascal Siakam, Aaron Nesmith, TJ McConnell, all out for Indiana, who played last night. So they still have like 11 guys. So they're not like bare bones necessarily, but they are pretty low on guards. So Quentin Jackson should start, should get plenty of run, should run the offense. Not a great per minute guy usually, but he's usually playing with guys like Siakam and Nembhard and Mathurin, who is also out. So way different situation. He's 3'4". I think the fact that he has shooting guard is what kind of makes him like point guard's loaded. There are a lot of ways to go at point guard in all salary tiers. So you're playing Jackson at shooting guard or whatever, but still a good play. Just should have a massive role, but he's far from alone at point guard. Jamal Murray against the Wizards with no Jokic, no Cam Johnson, no Christian Brown. Just a monster role for him. Washington's terrible. Blowout risk. Not super concerned about it with Denver being pretty thin themselves. So Murray's great. Curry's great against the Hornets. 9K flat. Generally, Curry's a guy who's got a wide range of outcomes and stuff, but Charlotte is a great matchup. One of the better spends on the slate. We have Cade, we have Shea, we have LaMelo, who I think at 8-1 on DK is very interesting in tournaments. Devin Booker is in. I think he's okay. Jalen Brunson is out again, so this will clear Miles McBride to play a huge role, starting role. Josh Hart is also out, which kind of makes things easier for him to get minutes. So I'm good with McBride. Peyton Pritchard is out. So Boston may not start Simons, but should still play around 30 minutes. High usage roll off the bench. Path for Moore. Maybe he does start. I don't think we have that news yet. But yeah, there are just like countless ways to go. I think McBride and Simons are very similar plays. I think the minutes for McBride are safer. I think Simons, in the role he plays compared to McBride, who's more of a low usage guy with the starters, has a higher ceiling. But they are very similar plays. Didn't even bring up Derek White, who is a great play despite being kind of pricey. Yeah. Stephon Castle's questionable. Maybe Dylan Harper, maybe De'Aaron Fox become good plays. It's just like an endless stream. CJ McCollum is starting without Dyson Daniels, and it doesn't really matter. There are just a million ways to go at point guard. So enjoy that.
Definitely a day you're playing 3 point guards on DraftKings. Like, it's a big priority today to get as many of those guys as you can in your lineup. I'm currently playing 59% Jamal Murray, and he is going to be my second highest owned play on of my 150 lineups. Will, how about you? What are you doing on DraftKings point guards?
I almost feel like I don't have a whole lot to add to what Taylor said because of the situation. Like, you can borderline play whatever you want tonight. Do you get the value right? So as an example, in lineup HQ, it's basically forcing Jackson, McBride, Jamal Murray. Essentially, like that. Those are kind of the three that it's forcing. And I like to look at that just to get a feel for, what lineups could look like. I know you get the same thing with SimLabs. So I'm not trying to don't misinterpret what I'm saying. For me, sometimes I just like to kind of scroll and look through and hit a button real quick and see it a little differently. So as a result, if it's going to force Quentin Jackson and it's going to force McBride, I'm not saying those guys are bad plays, but I honestly thought I was going to force Anthony Simons a bit more because I thought he was looking really good from a point per dollar perspective. Really good, not as high as Jackson, obviously, but I thought I was going to force him, but it's going to be forcing McBride a little bit more because of the projection. So I'm saying that to say, even though I don't have a whole lot, when I say extra to add, I think those are all good plays. I think I'm feeling better about trying to force a little bit more Simons tonight, if that makes any sense, to just get a bit more different. So that's kind of my take at point guard on DraftKings. Like, you can play Jackson, you can play McBride. Like, those are good plays. I'm not saying don't play them. I'm just saying I think I'm going to try to force the issue a little bit more with Simons, and see if I can beat the field there rather than what lineup HQ is telling me.
All right, take me over to shooting guard.
Yeah, shooting guard gets interesting because these guys have multi-position eligibility, obviously. Does Ben Shepherd ever do anything? I don't think so. Like, I'm going to take the Ben Shepherd fade train and hope I'm right. Like, I feel like every time he's in this spot, it's like 17 fantasy points, probably more like 20. But I feel like I'm going to take the fade there. We got the news, I think, right before the show, or maybe 10 to 15 minutes before the show. Don't quote me on that, but like, Hero was out. So not that Norman Powell is going to go out here and light the world on fire. And it's a matchup with OKC, which will be a pretty tough one. But my goodness, he's going to continually have all the opportunity in the world. I think just in terms of mid-range spins, he's a really good mid-range spin that we may not get to as much. We don't need him, but I do think, that's a bit of a different play tonight, if you will, where most people kind of aren't going to go there. Excuse me. When you also look over this, I think Taylor talked about CJ McCollum maybe in passing. I know he mentioned Dyson Daniels being out. About McCollum, CJ McCollum, another guy in the mid-range that I think is a very palatable play. Him and Norman Powell, even though the matchups are going to be tougher and they don't have, they're not 4K, I still think these spots tonight, a guy like Powell, a guy like McCollum, could be valuable where the field overlooks them, and they're essentially in a similar spot as some of the cheap value, but are better players. Hopefully that makes sense for everybody. So just being able to take a look at them, I like them. Obviously, you can get Simons here. If you want to take a shot at the top, with a Devin Booker, maybe, you mentioned, I know Taylor mentioned Derek White. If you want to do that, maybe I'm fine with that also. But I think the mid-range for me is shooting guard, especially Powell and McCollum are two guys that I think are very interesting and I feel like are going to go overlooked because you can just get such cheap plays elsewhere or cheap plays in the same spot. Sorry.
Taylor, what are your thoughts at shooting guard and 1v1 for my lineup? Who do you like better straight up, Jaylen Brown or Jalen Johnson?
I think I would lean Brown.
Okay,
both are pretty fantastic.
I'm playing Brown and Murray, and I kind of want to just make the same variation of the same team, but one with Johnson Brown, one with Brown Murray, one with Johnson Murray.
Yeah, that's a good way to go. I don't think you can really go wrong. I don't think Johnson's really going to be popular either, which is pretty interesting on the slate. For shooting guard, like Quentin Jackson's there. Like I said, you can play him here, which I think you are doing. If you're not playing him, you can play Ben Shepherd for 300 less. I just think that's generally a guy you don't really want to play into ownership. I know he's super cheap and they're super thin. I'll have some. I would like to be pretty low on him, even at 3-1. There's just a lot of opportunity cost, even at shooting guard with Jackson, with McBride, with Simons, with White, with CJ McCollum, Anthony is playing. I think he'll be limited. It's not a great spot, but no one else is going to play him tonight. Norm Powell's another one I think I kind of want to be under on. I know why he pops, like without Hero. No Hawkes either. No Davion. They're very thin. I just feel like against Oklahoma City, there's obviously a lot of risk in this game for the Heat. And if he's going to be catching ownership because of the guard forward and the salary, it's something I'm kind of nervous about. Like in a vacuum, he's a good play. I just don't love the spot. And the Hero thing is, I forgot Yakus Jonas at point guard. Like if you want to pivot away from Jackson for 100 more, Yakus Jonas played 27 off the bench in the last game with Hero in. So, and I think he would be pretty insulated from a blowout since he's a rookie, borderline lottery pick. I feel like they would give him some runway even in a blowout. So I think Yakus Jonas, regardless of whether he starts, is pretty interesting at point guard. I think you can play I think you can play Harper, especially if Castle's out. I think you can play Castle if he's in. But yeah, the core plays at shooting guard are pretty obvious.
Yeah, I ended up with 11% Yakus Jonas, and then I got 5% of Drew Smith as well, just mix them in because he's a guy that has shown some ceiling in past games. Take us to small forward.
Yeah, so at the top you have Jaylen Brown without Pritchard. Like the other two starters, the other two high usage starters, White and Brown, are going to look very good along with Simons. Brown should be lower owned than Simons. I don't think it'd be low owned overall, but it is a pretty big slate with a lot of options. So I do think he's an awesome play against Atlanta. On the cheap side, talks Jarris Walker for those Pacers with so many bodies missing. He's a guy we've seen. He'll shoot, is a decent per minute guy historically. The minutes have been pretty erratic, but again, in this situation, assuming he starts, he should be one of the main pieces offensively, you'd think, for them. So at small forward, power forward, I think he's just a very clearly good play. To a lesser extent, Johnny Furphy for 100 less. He's been starting anyway, so he should have a pretty good role here. We've seen less of him in general, especially in these kind of situations. So kind of hard to know where in the pecking order he would fall, but cheap, should have a role. Obviously, Indiana's probably going to get destroyed in this game, so I'm not like dying to play 4 or 5 of them, but they're all cheap, so they're kind of popping. Brandon Miller's okay, under 7K for the Hornets against the Warriors. Norm Powell, we talked about already. Jimmy Butler, I think under 8K is pretty interesting, more so than Jalen Williams. Mikal Bridges at 6'6" without Hart and without Brunson should, in theory, get a little more usage. And Justin Champagny, maybe. Not really psyched about the Wizards in general, though.
All right, Chief. How about you? Small forward. How much Jarris Walker are you guys getting? Because I have 71% right now.
A lot. 90%.
Okay, and that makes me feel better.
I mean, so let me ask you guys this question since we're already there. Do you think how much more do you like Walker versus Jackson?
I think I am going to get more Jackson, which is saying a lot because I have a ton of Walker. I just think they're both so cheap and good that I'm fine with it.
I like in a vacuum Jackson to score more points than Walker, but based on how many other guards there are, I'm getting to more Jarris Walker than Jackson just because I think the competition is stronger at Jackson's position.
Fair enough. I like Walker quite a bit, just because in my head and on paper, I think he has less competition kind of in his spot. Like I know they got Isaiah Jackson, they got Jay Huff, but like generally speaking, that's about it. Who's coming in for him? Like who is that person? I don't know. So I don't know who's coming in for him. So I feel like, and this is me, I'm not disagreeing with our projections overall. We got him at 30. I think he plays 35 minutes, but maybe I'm wrong. Either way, I like Walker a bit more than Jackson. I'm with you. I think we play them both. I don't know how much Johnny Furphy I'm going to play for what it's worth, just because he's at small forward also, and just kind of throw him in the bucket. We've got to spend some money somewhere, and that's kind of where I'm ending up on this slate. So that question you asked, TJ, of do you play Jaylen Brown? Do you play
Jalen Johnson?
Like, and I know Jalen Johnson in a different position, but I think the correct answer is you just play them both. That's the answer.
But then I miss out on Jamal Murray.
Well, we've already talked about that. But I think playing Jaylen Brown against Atlanta, really good option.
I was so close to being able to play all of them, but it leaves me 3K flat for utility. If I don't have a single player at 3K flat in my pool, if I had 100 more and could just go Ben Shepherd or Fontecchio even, I would just lock and load that lineup, play all three of them. I just wasn't quite able to make it work.
So I get it. I will say this. Jimmy Butler's been, let's go NBA Jam. He's been heating up a little bit here recently. Gets a matchup with the Hornets. I don't mind Jimmy at 7,700.
That was my consolation prize. I got Jimmy instead of, I couldn't get Jalen. I couldn't get Jalen in a cheapie, so I got Jimmy and McBride, which I feel pretty good about.
Yeah. So I don't hate Jimmy at all today in this spot. In a general sense, that's mostly where I'm at. It's like filling in cheapies, Jaylen Brown, cheapies, Jimmy Butler, Norman Powell, who I've already mentioned. That's mainly where I'm at. I mean, if you want to get to Sam Hauser, you can. I don't think he's as valuable today, unless he's the last piece in.
All right, power forward, which is basically the same names.
Yep, same names, except we're going to throw in Jalen Johnson. And if you want to play J Huff at power forward, more power to you. I don't think J Huff is a bad play tonight. Hopefully he gets 30 minutes and they don't go strolling Tony Bradley out there for 15 minutes. But I think Huff could be in a good spot here. I know I'd already mentioned Hauser. Sneakily, OG might be really good today against Phoenix with no Hart, no Brunson. Like, isn't this a spot where he just kind of becomes Swiss Army knife ultra and just does a bunch of everything and has one of those games and then falls off a cliff tomorrow. Like I feel like I'm right. So I like OG in this spot against Phoenix, where he's not going to get a whole lot of ownership either. You know, OG might be my feeling in the plums play, TJ, even though we might not have that today. I don't know, man. OG feels like a 50 burger tonight. I like him even more than our other mid-range guys.
I didn't even have him in my pool, so now you're going to make me rebuild all my lineups.
Yeah, I like him more than Powell. Powell and Emma and CJ, believe it or not. Like I like him quite a bit. So I hope I'm right. Hey, I'll settle for 48 fantasy points, Till. I think we'll take it. But anyway, I like OG quite a bit. Hopefully it doesn't let me down against Phoenix in this spot with these guys out. There you have it.
All right, Taylor, how about you, power forward?
Yeah, I like that call a lot. I think, you know, I don't know if people are really playing for the Brunson Hart stuff as much outside of McBride. But obviously someone's going to eat OG, Towns, Bridges, somebody.
It could be so all OG, of them, like, which is crazy.
Yeah, I like them all. I think individually they're all pretty good.
Castle is available to play, for what it's worth.
Okay, good. So the J Huff thing, he's the one pacer who I'm getting a lot of, who I'm like kind of nervous about. I know he's cheap. He went insane last night. Don't really think that's likely to happen again. Not that you need that at 4-6, but they do have Isaiah Jackson back for this game, who can play some backup minutes off the bench. I feel like Huff is not a guy who's probably going to see a ton of minutes in a blowout. And if his, salary and game logs and stuff are leading to a lot of ownership, I think that's something I'm interested in getting away from. I do think Jalen Johnson's awesome. Obviously, Jarris Walker at the position. Aaron Gordon for Denver against the Wizards without all the starters that they're missing, I think is a great play. More so than Watson, who's just wildly expensive. He's been awesome, but I'm not really that interested in paying a premium for him when you have Jimmy Butler right there. Julius Randle for a few hundred more. Even Jalen Williams, I think, is playable, not a core play at all. I prefer Chet between those mid-range kind of Thunder guys. And then Andrew Wiggins, I think, is worth a look. Again, like the Heat are in a really rough spot themselves, but 5-6 should get plenty of run if the game is competitive. They're missing a couple of starters and Hawkes. So his minutes should be there if they can keep it close, which I don't know if they can.
All right, take us to center.
Yeah, so same thing with Bam. Still 7K. Still looks really cheap. We always talk about Bam and how he just doesn't typically show a huge ceiling. And I don't know if this is the spot where you'll get one either against the Thunder at home.
0% Bam. Like 150.
Yeah, I think that's totally fine. There is a lot of stuff to pay for. You have Wemby. Once again, like I said the other night, I think it's a matter of until he gets 30 minutes. He's again. He got hurt the other night, so that kind of limited his run a little bit. But still under 10K. Not really scared about the matchup with Minnesota with Gobert questionable, especially. So I think Wemby is fantastic. Karl Anthony Towns, like we talked about, under 9K without Brunson against Phoenix. That's a pretty good spot. I love a Kongwu with Porzingis out. Dyson Daniels is out. Could see a little more usage. Not that he's a huge source of that to begin with, but minutes are always pretty strong for him. So I think he's a good play. I think Jalen Duren is one of the best tournament plays on the entire slate on the other side of this Indiana game. I liked it more before when the Pacers were not tanking the game. So now that the game has blowout risk, Duren comes with more risk, but he should do whatever he wants in this spot. Alex Sarr, very similar play. If you're not concerned about the blowout risk the Wizards have in Denver without Jokic and without Joe Val, I think he's kind of sneaky for larger field stuff. And Mitchell Robinson, if you want someone cheap, he could start for the Knicks, who are shorthanded. They'll do that sometimes, but even off the bench, 20 to 25 minutes, good per minute guy, cheap price tag. I think he's interesting.
All right, Chief, how about you, center?
Yeah, center is always one of those interesting spots um, when you have a lot of value, because there's usually value at the center spot on those days. And today we get Jay Huff along with every other Indiana player on their roster. But I do like Jay Huff. He's not, his ownership isn't through the roof. I mean, we've got him projected in the 30s, so I'm still okay with that. I think up top, I'm going to go back to New York, man. Karl Anthony Towns gets a matchup with Phoenix without Brunson, without Hart. Definitely a spot for him to, dare we say, show up and show out. At 8,800, I think this is a very fair price for him, especially when we're trying to find guys to spend money on, and you can play Huff and Towns together. It won't be a problem. So I like him quite a bit. I think I like Okongwu. I don't love Okongwu, but I mean, at 7,300, we know this is a guy that could go out and get 50 if everything lines up the way it should. Victor Wembanyama, I'm pretty much show committed. Taylor, if you will.
The chat's telling me yes.
There you go. I'm pretty much show committed to Victor Wembanyama. I'm just going to keep playing him until he has one of those games at this point. Like, because Taylor, isn't this the quintessential? They don't tell anyone he's going to play 34 minutes. He plays 34 minutes. I'm not saying this today. I'm just saying, generally speaking, yes, I feel like they've been fair in saying, hey, he's coming off the bench. He's not starting. He's starting, but at some point, the limits are going to come off, and they're not going to say anything. And that's when I want to be continuing to press the button. I'm going to press the button tonight yet again, and hope that we are right in our assumption, and they just don't tell us, and we get the big game. Because when he goes full go, it's going to be nuclear, and I'm going to be very excited.
All right, let's
congratulations, TJ.
Thank you. Let's pivot over to FanDuel. Before we do, though, I want to remind you about Pick Labs. It's the newest Fantasy Lab feature that lets you scan the best player prop and pick 'em bets in seconds. Everything's broken down for you, from edges to win rates to value. It's a clean board showing which plays actually stand out across sites like Underdog and Prize Picks. And when you see something you like, Pick Labs builds the slip and sends it straight to the book of your choice. For a limited time, you can get access through a Fantasy Labs DFS subscription. Visit fantasylabs.com/pricing and use code FLEX20 for $20 off your first payment. You'll be wondering how this wasn't a thing already. Will, I will keep it with you. FanDuel point guard, who do you like?
It won't be quite as similar, because guess what, folks? You have to play Jackson at shooting guard only on FanDuel, so he will not be taking up a point guard spot, which is actually pretty good. I actually like that quite a bit. How much Anthony Simons is going to be too much Anthony Simons on FanDuel? And I'm expecting Miles McBride I'm expecting his ownership on FanDuel to be, through the roof. So like Simons quite a bit. Don't mind McBride. Do I still want to play Jamal Murray? Yes. So let me say this. Love TJ McCollum on FanDuel at 6,200. Like I think this is a great play. Getting him in this spot against Boston. Not say Boston's a bad team. I'm just saying, for this price and the role, hopefully the impact that he gets a chance to have on this roster tonight with some absences, I think this will be really good for him. He is one of my favorites. SGA, to play SGA, to not play SGA, that is the question. I think in our heads we feel like they're going to, I don't want to say pummel, but run past Miami quarter by quarter. And so he's just a guy that I feel like nobody wants to play tonight. And I didn't mention him on DraftKings, but on FanDuel, I'm going to mention him because we have to play him, it's a little bit different build when you got to play two of those guys in one spot. And I think SGA has some interesting value, despite the fact that he hasn't been lighting the world on fire. At some point, it's going to come. You could take a flyer, I guess, on Jakasionis from Miami here as well. Like, he's a better player on DraftKings, I think, but I don't hate him on FanDuel also.
All right, Taylor, FanDuel point guard, who do you like?
Yeah, you can play any of Jamal Murray, Anthony Simons, Derek White, or Miles McBride at point guard or shooting guard. Just like on DK, they're all phenomenal plays on FanDuel. The only difference is we have this Lakers-Portland game. Shaden Sharp at 7-6 with still no Avdia for Portland, I think is pretty interesting at what should be reasonably low ownership against a Lakers team that is not defending at all. So I think he's a good tournament play. Shea, like Will was saying, like good play in theory if no one's going to play him. I liked it more when Hero was presumably in. But now that he's out, there's obviously a lot more blowout risk. So it's kind of the same thing as always with SGA, where it's, yeah, he'll probably put up 50. He's probably not going to play enough to put up 65. So I could do without it. And then Gabe, like any other Indiana thing, it's the same story. Like he can get there. Not really convinced he can see enough minutes to do that, but in a larger field tournament, you can always play a guy like that.
All right, shooting guard.
Yeah, so we have Derek White, I didn't say, is much cheaper on FanDuel. He's like $500 cheaper, which is notable with the higher cap. And FanDuel suits him well with 3 points for stocks. So it's kind of hard for me to not play him on FanDuel. For Quentin Jackson, 3,800. We've talked about him at length. Very strong play, assuming he's starting. Jaylen Brown, you can play at shooting guard. Simons, McBride, Murray, Shaden Sharp, all the guys we've talked about already. Not really much different. I think Marcus Smart is okay. I would just much rather play Simons or McBride in the same range. So I think Smart is another guy who's kind of an interesting larger field play. I like the McCollum call a lot. And that's about it.
All right, take us to shooting guard. You just did that. Well, Chief, who do you like at shooting guard? Gotta have one of those where you get mixed up a show.
Yeah, all good. A lot of the same names. I'm going to throw in once again. Throw in heavily here. Devin Booker, not heavily, but excuse me. In this spot, hopefully this game is competitive. I think any of these expensive guards like Jaylen Brown, some of these guys are going to have a big game, and I just think you need to consider a couple of them. So Jaylen Brown, Devin Booker, two that I would consider. Obviously playing Brown over Booker. I'm okay with Brandon Miller, not as high on Norman Powell at 7K, where he was in the 6s on DraftKings. Right back to McCollum in this spot. If you decide you want to do it, and now obviously you're getting Jackson here, you can get Simons here. You still plug in McBride here. I don't like Ben Shepherd, but I do think he's a better play on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings just because of how the salary distribution works. Like he's cheaper on DraftKings, I get it, but like on FanDuel, a $3,700 player could be worth a lot. The difference on tonight's slate is we don't have a whole heap of players to spend up on. We're just going to be spending for raw points. And I think we'll get to one of the biggest or best spins on this slate at the next position. But I do think Ben Shepherd is a better play on FanDuel just for me mentally. God, if he just runs into two steals, he's almost there. So I like him quite a bit. That's how I feel about shooting guard.
All right, take us to small forward.
So small forward, we're getting jiggy with it now. LeBron James is here. There's no Luka Doncic. LeBron James is 75 years old, but he has a matchup with Portland. I'm assuming LeBron will be 50, somewhere between 50 and 60 fantasy points. He's 9,400. Sign me up. I'm not saying this is the safest spin, but gosh, man, a matchup against Portland with no Luka, LeBron has to put up some sort of reasonable output tonight, I think. They're on the road, so I'm hoping LeBron does what he's supposed to do. LeBron, give us between 50 and 60, and I'm glad. I'll take 55. I love 60, but I think LeBron is one of the best plays on FanDuel tonight, just in terms of situation, what should be a really nice spot for fantasy points output for him. So I like him quite a bit. Going to do the same thing on FanDuel. perfectly fine with OG. He's more expensive. I don't really care. OG is a guy that I really like in this spot against Phoenix with the absences that they have.
All right. Powered One noting in chat that Diawara is starting for the Knicks. Taylor, talk to me about small forward, and do you have any interest in Diawara?
No, pretty low usage. We have a ton of value. I just think there's really no reason to mess with that. But the other Knicks, I do think, are obviously very good. LeBron without Reeves, without Luka, very obvious play. His usage is up. His usage is up by like 11% without those guys, which is pretty substantial. And they're playing Portland, so a good matchup with Portland kind of banged up. Otherwise, spending up also Jaylen Brown, Jalen Johnson. Norman Powell's okay. We talked about this and how it's kind of a tough spot, but he should get a lot of usage. Furphy 4,300, not quite a core play at all. I think he's like okay if you land on him. Not my favorite way to save salary with Indiana. Marcus Smart, more playable at this position than he is at shooting guard, just because there's less to like in general. I think Lorraine's fine. Should play a little minutes for 5-6, just not generally someone who's going to put up a score you have to have. It's kind of it, like fringier stuff with Jimmy Butler, Anthony Edwards in large field, Brandon Miller. There are a lot of options, but I think you're just kind of building around LeBron or someone named Jalen.
All right, take his power forward.
Yeah, so Jarris Walker, power forward center on FanDuel. Great play, 4K flat. Should have a huge role like we talked about. LeBron again, Jalen Johnson again. Wemby's here at power forward eligible, 10-3 on FanDuel. So still pretty underpriced relative to his ultimate ceiling, which will come back at some point, hopefully tonight. Like Chet, under 8K in that Miami game, really good spot for OKC in general. Mentioned LaRavia already, mentioned Andrew Wiggins. I think Sarr, kind of pricey on FanDuel at 8K. I like him more on DraftKings, but someone with nuclear upside who absolutely no one's going to play. So if you're playing like Jamal Murray and you need Murray to hit an ultimate ceiling and get full minutes, the Wizards need to keep it close in theory, and maybe Sarr is having a big game in that situation. Again, Okongwu's a little pricey. Karl-Anthony Towns is a bit pricey, but still fine. But I think you're just building around Jarris Walker, and then whoever you don't play at small forward between Jalen Johnson and LeBron or Wemby.
All right, power forward, Will. How about you?
Yeah, Jarris Walker is definitely someone that I plan to play 4K on FanDuel. A really nice price there. You can play LeBron at power forward if you need. Once again, you can play OG here. And I know I keep mentioning OG. He's just a guy that I like tonight. I'm going to continue to play Wemby like we talked about. I just think there's no reason to not try to get to him. You can play Karl-Anthony Towns at power forward. And so on FanDuel, I'm probably playing Towns at power forward for what it's worth. I think that's going to be the way to go because Jay Huff is center only. So I'm going to play Towns at power forward. He's going to be a favorite play of mine there on FanDuel tonight.
All right, take us to center.
Jay Huff. How much Jay Huff can we get to? Obviously, DeAndre Ayton, 5,800. Guys, come on. This is fantastic. I'm going to have an equal amount of Ayton along with Jay Huff. So I'm kind of going to try to split them. I'm trying to get to 30% of both for what it's worth. And I think I'm going to be able to pull it off just fine. Yes, I'm going to be able to pull it off just fine. So those are two of my favorites. That's mostly who I'm going to be playing. If I didn't set up Walker as just a power forward, so if it happens to, which I don't think it's going to force me to center in my build. I know I could change that myself, but I'm pretty sure mostly Ayton, mostly Huff. I am forcing Karl-Anthony Towns to power forward only in my FanDuel build for what it's worth. I'm forcing power forward only to make sure I get my Ayton Huff shares with Towns to try to double up and get something special there. But that's mostly what I'm doing. I do think a sprinkle, and I do mean a sprinkle of Isaiah Jackson is reasonable. He's going to be the forgotten son in this spot. We've got him projected for 16 minutes. If he plays 25, 30 minutes, I don't think he'll get to 30, but I do think 20 to 23 is reasonable. At 3,800, I don't mind a flyer, but he's not someone I'm loading up on.
What are you going to do with Ayton being questionable? If he gets ruled out, do you plan to just go straight line to Mark Williams, or
do
you have a 2v2 plan?
Nope. I'll just get Mark Williams in there, and that'll just be it.
All right, Taylor, how about you? Who do you like at center?
Yeah, it's useful to have guys like Wemby and Towns and Walker at power forward, so you can pay down at center a little more easily than you another slate, which is usually kind of not ideal. But on this slate, not a ton of center only opportunity cost. So I do think Huff is fine. I think Mitchell Robinson is fine too. Very similar play for the Knicks. 8 and 5.8, obviously underpriced. Should have more usage without Reeves and Luka if he's in. If he's out, the Lakers really don't have any centers because Jackson Hayes is also out. Maybe you can set up a 2v2 where you can get to Klingon or something like that in the same game if Ayton doesn't play. But if he's in, very good play. And then other guys we talked about already, Okongwu, Chet Holmgren, Sarr, Jalen Duren, still only 7-2 on FanDuel. So I think in tournaments, I would at least a little bit of Duren.
All right, that'll do it for position by position. We got lots and lots of time for questions here. Still about 17 minutes until lock. So get your questions in about basketball, about football, about dinner, whatever you want. I'll go to the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat first. I will go to YouTube chat second. YouTube, all we ask is that you smash that like button. Let me pull up Discord here quick. But before we get into questions, let's do our plums play.
Hey,
our
Draymond Green will have to beat the pivot there, TJ.
What did you say, sorry?
I said Draymond Green will have to beat the pivot because Williams is starting. I wasn't even thinking about that. But yeah, Williams is starting at lock.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why in my brain LA was playing Phoenix.
So we'll have an extra hour before Draymond plays. So, I mean, it'll be about an hour and a half gap. We might not get it. I think he's going to play, so I'm playing it that way. I mean, technically, I couldn't even leave enough room and get to like Donovan Klingon in some of these builds. So, I mean, technically, I'd be okay, but I'm playing it from the plate. So that's just the way I'm going to play it.
All right, let's go with our slate breakers tonight. Who do you guys have breaking the slate?
I'm going OG, man. I don't know. I think OG has a great night tonight. That's my sneaky slate breaker.
Taylor, how about you?
I think we get a vintage Steph Curry game. I know it's not in Charlotte.
Of course you would against the Hornets. Of course,
his whole hometown team narrative with his dad there calling the game. So Steph Curry for all.
Is this the day his dad's jersey is getting retired?
No, they're in San Francisco. It's probably in Charlotte.
Oh, okay, never mind. I just saw a recent thing that Del Curry's jersey is going to be retired in Charlotte for not just what he did as a player, but since he's been there as a broadcaster ever since. But I think that might have just happened already. Rudy Gobert has been ruled out. So let's talk through that. Minnesota now is going to give us maybe some Naz Reid, some Jaden McDaniels. Is there any cheapies that we can go with at center here, Taylor? Talk me through what we're doing with Minnesota now.
Yeah, so I assume they're going to start Naz, but they are playing Wemby. They have this guy, Berenjay, who played the other night. I guess he was the backup a couple nights ago. I think he's a rookie. He's probably very cheap. I have not looked into it.
3,500.
Yeah, I think he's playable. I think it's a large field thing. We don't really need the value on this slate. So probably wouldn't do it in single entry or anything like that. But I'm not as interested in Nas is priced up because Edwards was just out. Randall's a little priced up. I don't think this moves the needle a ton. I think Berenger maybe in a large field tournament is the value I'd play, but otherwise I'm not like moving a lot based on that news.
For
It
150,
is
I'm
good for
going to
Wemby
throw.
as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. For 150, I am going to throw Nas and Berenger both into the pool. Maybe just bump up Wemby here a little bit as well. So much for having my lineup set. We're still building. We're still adjusting. And we'll see when we get that projection update and how much I want to put of each of them in there. Will, you have any interest in either the cheap Berenger or however you say his name, or Nas Reed?
Najee for sure. Is it Berenger or is it Berenger?
Who knows?
I think he's is he French? His name's Joan, isn't it? Joan.
Berenger.
Yeah, he's French, so it's probably Berenger.
Okay, cool. Hey, listen, I was just asking. I was just asking. I wasn't trying to challenge anyone's French diction. Okay, I just wanted to check. I don't mind taking him as a flyer, but for me, it's for sure more Nas Reed. Definitely more Nas Reed.
All right, let's start. My slate breaking play today is not an overly hot take, but it's Jamal Murray. I wrote up in the expert survey that I think he's going to drop 50 real points today. I still feel that way. I am very big on Jamal Murray. He is going to be my second highest owned play behind Jarris Walker, who I'm getting to a ton of just because of the positional flexibility and how cheap he is. But Jamal Murray, certainly my favorite spend up on the slate. Johnny Juzang got added to the pool. I don't want to get to any Johnny Juzang. Let's get rid of that real quick.
I mean, Johnny Juzang was a pretty good player at UCLA, man. Don't do Johnny like that.
Hey, I'm sure
it's amazing how great some guys have college careers and their NBA careers are just like, okay. Which is probably most college players, actually.
Oh, yeah. If they're making it there, that's just like, hey, look, if you get to his second contract, you are thrilled.
Yeah. Yep.
No disrespect to Johnny Juzang. I'm sure he's a great guy, but not somebody that I'm going to be getting to here tonight. Berenger only projecting for 14 minutes. If I bump him to 20, still not very interesting, but we'll get him in the pool. We'll get him in the pool for a just in case. You never know how these things go. Start looking to some questions. We got maybe a Shakir touchdown, but maybe it hit the ground. Let us know once it's confirmed. But I'll start taking some questions here. FanDuel GPP, low owned stud, low owned value from both of you. I'll go to you first, Taylor.
Low owned stud. I think Towns is probably going to be under owned.
Oh yeah.
So I lean that way.
Big time.
Low owned value. Let's see. Dylan Harper, like he's gotten pretty cheap. Not going to be popular with Castle in. I think he's solid.
All right. Will, how about you? Favorite low owned stud, favorite low owned cheapie?
Man, I hate to go similar with Towns, but I think that's just the right play on Fed. Like we got to project for what 5%, I think it was. It might be a little more than that now. Let me refresh. I don't know if that's refreshed. Last I checked, it was like 5%.
No Gobert. I think my favorite low owned stud might be Wemby now.
And yeah, I don't hate that either. This is a much thinner play, but everybody's gravitating to all the obvious value. I think I mentioned it earlier. Isaiah Jackson from Indiana at center, 3,800. I don't think anybody's going to play him, and man, he could be him. Who knows?
I like it. No problem with that whatsoever. Let me get my newest set of lineups in. There we go. Updated for the Gobert news. Lineups are in. Can you fade Indiana in single entry, Taylor?
There's probably enough cheap value to make it happen. I wouldn't do it. I would probably play Walker and Quentin Jackson. But if you hate it, I can see the case for fading it.
DK GPP, Will, you want SGA Okay, it's a 2v2v2. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
SGA and Furphy,
Okay.
Curry and Allen, LaMelo and McDaniels.
It's not SGA and Furphy. Give me Curry Allen.
I don't really like any of those options. If I'm being very every one of those has one person that I
mean, it's probably realistically it's probably SGA Furphy, but I don't like Furphy.
DK Cash Taylor, Powell Butler Towns, or Miller Gordon Curry.
I think I would lean Miller Gordon Curry.
Yahoo 2v2 will. You want LeBron and SGA or Jaylen Brown, Jamal Murray, sorry.
Ooh, man. Probably Jaylen Brown, Jamal Murray, just because I trust them a little bit more than SGA right now. But realistically, LeBron, SGA is that's stupid right now. Stupid.
Taylor, how does no Dyson Daniels impact Jalen Johnson? I feel like it's kind of tough to say because CJ McCollum's there and he never used to be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it impacts a lot. I think he's just kind of awesome no matter what. CJ is a higher usage player than Dyson Daniels is, so maybe that knocks Jalen down a little bit, but not enough to where I'm gonna fade him or anything.
I mean, can I ask you this still? I mean, it's probably, I would assume it's similar to Dyson Daniels just being off the floor when Trey was there. It's probably almost identical.
Yeah.
Well, if playing Isaiah Jackson, would you rather play, or that's probably Quentin Jackson. Derek, let us know for sure if that was Quentin Jackson or Isaiah Jackson. But it says, if playing Jackson, would you rather have Walker or Huff? If that's Quentin, give me Huff. If that's Isaiah, give me Walker. But maybe let us know for sure which one you're going with.
I'm assuming it's Quentin, and I think the answer is going to be Huff. But
single entry. Will you want Wemby or Cat for DraftKings?
I'm going Cat tonight. I want the right answer is probably both, but I'm going Cat.
5,300 remaining at DK Utility. Taylor, who are you going with? Simons or McBride? That's not a qualifier. You can pick literally anybody, but those are my top two choices.
Yeah. I assume you probably have one of them, so play the other one. But if I'm choosing one, I think I would pick Simons.
All right. Do we think Ayton plays tonight? What are your guys' leans?
Yes.
My lean is yes, which is why I'm trying to get a fair amount.
On FanDuel, Will, you want Ayton and Nickeil Alexander-Walker or Curry and Isaiah Jackson?
I'll go Curry, Isaiah Jackson, Ayton. The correct answer is Ayton, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. But Curry, Jackson, sneaky. Because I think Jackson's the sneaky, cheap guy from Indiana.
FanDuel single entry, Taylor, McBride or Simons?
I still think Simons has the higher ceiling. So for a tournament, I would just lean Simons over McBride.
Will, FanDuel, you want Curry and OG or Jaylen Brown and McCollum?
Curry, OG. I like OG a lot today.
That'll do it for all the questions. We'll give people a couple more minutes here to get some more questions in just in case. If not, maybe we'll get out of here a minute or two early, since I think the only news we are still really waiting on is DeAndre Ayton, and that is not something we're going to be getting before lock anyways. Taylor, is there any other news that you're waiting on here?
No, I think Ayton's the last one.
All right, well, that'll do it. Thank you so much for tuning in today, everyone. Reminder, we will have a football show for tomorrow, 2-game slate tomorrow. Myself and Tim will be back for that one. Last question here before we get out of here. Taylor, do you think Wemby will have enough minutes to break the slate?
Yeah, he only needs 30, maybe not even that many. So I think it's certainly possible.
Smash the like button on your way out. That'll do it for today's show. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in on behalf of myself, Taylor, and Will. We will see you next time. Peace.